100 angels descended from the sky like rains of light, followed one after another by the rulers of destruction. The sky above the planet ignited, and the earth beneath them trembled as if it feared what was about to happen. But in that place, there was only Goku, standing amidst the ruins, his body blazing with white fire and pure energy. His hair glowed, and his eyes were empty of mercy. Everyone who saw him felt one thing: fear. Even Beerus, who thought he knew the limits of Goku's power, swallowed hard in silence, whispering, "This isn't Goku. This is something else." Then Goku spoke in a low voice that pierced through all of space. "Come closer. I want to see which one of you deserves to live." In the blink of an eye, 3 rulers of destruction rushed toward him at once, but before they could touch him, his body vanished from their sight. No one heard the strike. They only saw their bodies fall to the ground like broken dolls without souls. The rest trembled, unable to understand how or when he moved. Goku stood among them, unconsciously wearing a cold smile as he said, "Your attacks are shallow. I can't even feel them." Then suddenly, his voice thundered across the void. "Who's next?" Sidra stepped forward confidently, though sweat covered his forehead, shouting, "Stand aside, I'll handle him myself." All eyes turned toward him, for he was the ruler whose body was said to be harder than steel, unbreakable. He spoke arrogantly, raising his power to its absolute limit. "Who does this Saiyan think he is? My skin can't be pierced. His existence is nothing but dust before me." But Goku didn't answer. A single look from him made Sidra's heart tremble. Then Goku slowly opened his mouth, and from it burst a volcanic flame. Pure fire as if born from the heart of the sun. It condensed into a tiny orb of energy between Goku's fingers. He stepped towards Sidra, who froze completely, unable to move. The blast struck Sidra directly. He screamed in agony as his body burned in an instant, vaporized completely, leaving behind only a scorched shadow on the ground. Madness filled the air. The ruler Liquor screamed as he rushed from behind at incredible speed, striking with all his might to surprise Goku. But time itself seemed to stop for a moment. Goku turned in an instant, appearing behind Liquor like lightning. He grabbed him by the head with one hand. Liquor's eyes glistening with tears. Goku said, "Your energy is mine now." Liquor's body began to shrivel like paper consumed by fire, his face distorted, followed by a short scream and a shattering silence unlike anything before. Everyone in the sky, the assistants, the rulers, even Vados froze in place. The aura surrounding Goku began to crack the very fabric of space, and nearby universes trembled. One of the assistants spoke in a trembling voice. He's surpassing the concept of power itself. He's completely lost his mind." Goku turned toward them, his eyes without pupils, his voice coming out like an icy whisper. And with every step he took, the earth shook beneath him. The planet was close to Earth, The tremors reached its depths, and people everywhere felt a force that terrified their souls. A power beyond description, as if the sky itself was trembling. Vegeta was preparing to leave, his expression frozen, hiding a storm of anxiety. He slowly approached Bulma and Trunks, looked at them for a long moment, and said a single word: "I'll return. Take care of your mother while I'm gone, boy." Then he turned to leave, but a soft hand caught his wrist from behind. It was Chi-Chi, tears streaming down her face, as if she couldn't let him go. Her voice was broken, hoarse from crying. "Please, Vegeta, bring him back alive. Bring Goku back to me." Vegeta stopped, a strange silence upon him. He didn't know what to say. He gently took Chi-Chi's hand and nodded. From afar, Bardock approached, his expression stern, but his eyes hiding an indescribable pain. He said, "So, you married my son. I'm glad he found someone who truly cares for him." Chi-Chi froze for a moment, her tears stopping as she stared at the unfamiliar man who looked so much like her husband, unable to understand anything. Meanwhile, Whis was standing beside him, smiling slightly, holding his staff. Vegeta raised his head toward the sky and spoke in a firm voice, filled with determination and pain. "It's time to leave this place. Time is running out." Whis extended his staff, and suddenly the three of them vanished, soaring swiftly into the heavens. On another planet, destruction reigned everywhere. Goku, the beast who had lost all traces of humanity, stood among the scorched corpses of the rulers of destruction. His breath was fire, and every movement he made ignited the space around him. But suddenly, the fabric of space tore open, revealing a gate of deep blue light spinning like a vortex that devoured existence itself. From it emerged the Grand Ruler, Daishin Khan, his face expressionless, but the fury in his eyes was enough to extinguish the flames burning across the void. Daishin Khan slowly raised his hand, his voice echoing across space. "My children, now show no mercy to this creature." In an instant, 10 angels moved in perfect harmony, a sight never seen before. Each one lifted their celestial staff, releasing interwoven streams of energy that formed massive chains of light, moving at the speed of lightning directly toward Goku. Each chain bore a seal of supreme power, crafted to restrain the strongest of beings. The first thread of light struck Goku's body, then the second, then the third. Within moments, his entire form was bound, the radiant chains coiling around his arms, his chest, his neck, and even his very soul. Goku roared like a lion, and the echo of his scream shook all universes. Yet his roar was not human. It was a fusion of rage, madness, and pure energy. His eyes blazed with silver fire, sparks flying from his body as he struggled to break the chains. The ground beneath him melted, but the chains did not shatter. From afar, Daishin Khan stood motionless in midair, his eyes now completely white without pupils. He raised both hands and began chanting strange words in an unknown language. With each word, the chains glowed brighter, and Goku screamed louder. The energy around him flickered between light and darkness, as if waging war within him. Some of the angels trembled. This was the first time they had ever witnessed a being resisting the spell of the Grand Ruler himself. One of them exclaimed in disbelief, "His energy, It's resisting the annihilation spell to the Dark Fortress. That's impossible." But Daishin Khan did not respond. He continued his chant, his voice growing louder and more commanding. The heavens exploded, as if the universe itself had decided to slap reality. Lightning descended like pillars of wrath from the skies, swallowing vast distances. Countless assistants were vaporized in an instant. From within that blinding light emerged Whis, the strongest of his brothers. It became clear that it was he who had unleashed that power through his staff, an energy shock meant to ease the weight of the battle. To Whis' right stood Vegeta. His rage turning pale with resolve, saying, "There's no room for fear now." And to his left, Bardock stared at his son in disbelief before the overwhelming shadow that Goku had become, wrapped in chains of pure energy. Whis raised his voice sharply, his tone firm and commanding. A quick plan dropped like a spark among them. "We outnumber us. I'll stabilize the time field with my staff. Vegeta, your task is to distract and break their formation. Bardock, you'll reach Goku's heart, calm him, and bring him back to himself. Then, with your mastery of instinct, you'll break the light chains from the outside. Whoever's bound cannot break them from within. Once it's done, we escape. Until then, we fight with everything we've got, no hesitation." Vegeta replied with a burning arrogance. "And what about the Grand Ruler? Do you think he'll just stand and watch?" Whis gave a faint smile that failed to hide his concern. "Don't worry, I know him well. He enjoys talking more than acting. He'll want to negotiate with me before killing. That is, if he still behaves as he used to. And besides, he's too busy containing Goku's power right now." Suddenly, Bardock snapped, unable to restrain himself. He leapt upward and struck Beerus with a crushing kick, slamming him into the ground before everyone's eyes. The shock froze every face. Beerus, humiliated twice in a single day, groaned on the ground as his aura of fear crumbled. Whis whispered in a low but commanding tone, "Bardock, stop now. This isn't the time for revenge." Bardock halted, his fists trembling, but his eyes gleamed as he looked at Goku, the gaze of both a father and a warrior. He rushed toward his chained son, trying to free him, but failed. Whis noticed this, and with his staff, released a localized burst of light that temporarily eased Goku's radiance for a brief moment.
Vegeta stood before the assistants, scattering them with breathtaking blows. Explosions of energy here, surges there, and with every passing second, the chances of survival or victory grew. Vegeta set the battlefield ablaze. Bardock whispered softly into his son's ear, hoping to reach his heart, while Whis watched with careful eyes, adjusting the staff's frequency. Goku was no longer human in that moment. His face dripped with energy, his body trembling as though trying to expel something far greater than himself. Bardock, his voice hoarse, extended his hand toward him. "Goku, Calm down. Don't move. I'll free you from these chains. Just trust me." But the moment Bardock released the energy seals, a terrifying sound erupted, like the scream of the universe itself. Goku pushed Bardock back with such force that he crashed into a massive rock. A strange laugh came from Goku's mouth, a laugh that wasn't his own. A laugh that made the air itself shiver. His hair suddenly rose, growing until it brushed his back. And he transformed into a being that struck terror into every heart. His eyes became like twin embers of pure light. A single roar from him was enough to make half the planet vanish into nothingness from the sheer force of the explosion. Vegeta froze in silence, unable to move. Whis raised a barrier of energy that barely held together, and high above, inside the great palace, Zeno was watching everything from his throne. His eyes widened in terror, and his small body began to tremble. Suddenly, the ground beneath him quaked violently as never before. A mysterious sound rose from the depths of the palace, from directly underneath the earth. The floor of the grand hall cracked open, and a black light began to seep upward from below. There was a buried palace deep underground, and in its heart, a massive stone statue sat on a colossal throne, shifting slightly from the immense power it felt from Goku. That was the reason for the earthquake within the palace. Back on the battlefield, the sky was torn apart as if dying, and the winds howled with the wail of the dead. Goku raised his hand and unleashed a terrifying burst of power. Everyone stood still. No one moved. No one breathed. Even the remaining rulers of destruction, who had long been accustomed to scenes of annihilation, were frozen in place by pure fear. Goku was no longer the Goku they knew. His new form resembled a being born from chaos itself. Light burned from his body. Whis, for the first time in his life, his face was devoid of calm. Vegeta stood there in disbelief, whispering to himself,
"Kakarot, what have you become?" Amid the ruins, Bardock struggled to rise, covered in dust and blood. He lifted his head toward his son and spoke with a broken voice. Why did you do this, my son? Don't you remember me? I am your father!" The words died in Bardock's throat as he saw what his son had become. But Goku did not move, did not reply. He was surrounded by dense light, and within that radiance, his eyes gleamed with an inhuman coldness. Then suddenly, a voice pierced the silence. "Finally, let's end this chaos." Everyone turned toward the source of the voice. The Grand Ruler stood above them, his hands raised high, and on his arms, strange black symbols began to appear, symbols no one had ever seen before. Whis spoke in a trembling voice. "No, no, not that spell. It's forbidden, even among us." But it was too late. The Grand Ruler slowly extended his hand toward Goku, and in an instant, a thick black darkness poured from his palms, moving like a living, hungry creature. It darted faster than light itself and engulfed Goku completely before anyone could intervene. Vegeta's scream echoed through the heavens. "Kakarot!" But there was no answer.
White light vanished, and the air grew so heavy that it suffocated everyone around.
I